Having been born into this world, we aren't able to be alone. We have a father, a mother, brothers, sisters that we call our family. There are our communities of small groups, social groups, villages, towns, states, and gathered together it is a country. And it is normal that whoever gathers together like this won't have hearts that are harmonious and in concord, with same views and with no arguments and disputes. But even if there are some differing views, it's not to the point where it is so serious that it could lead to violent arguments, that we cling onto our views alone as good. Because if every day it's like this, it won't be very good. We need to give in to others somewhat, to listen and to take in somewhat. But it also isn't just listening, but finding the logic and reasoning so that concord arises. Then we take the best reasoning so that we can get to the same goal that we wish for, which is to have something good to arise. So being in concord, harmony and unity, and being of one mind and not arguing is something very good. Especially in Dhamma practice, if we find faults and blame others, we dislike each other, then our bhavana, our meditation practice, doesn't become stable. Like for the monks who spend the Vasa, the 3-month rains retreat together, they may have differing views. For example, in Wat Marp, there is the rule that when one enters into the monastery, one must fold up one's umbrella, take off any headgear, take off their footwear, and enter the monastery with respect. This has been a kawat, a way of practice for a long time, since before the time I ordained, more than 50 years ago. And some people who enter nowadays, they don't force them to take off their footwear and walk bare feet. So they wear their footwear and enter. And there was one of the monks entering the monastery who said that this is not respectful of the monastery rules on entering. But another monk who was with him was a monk who was sure of himself in that there was no need to follow the rule to that extent. And so they had some argument over it. But however it was, the two monks, they didn't go to the level of wanting to harm the other or having to win over the other. So they were silent. Each of them may have thought that their own view was good. One thought that the other was someone who was respectful. If someone could take off their footwear like that and enter, then it shows they are respectful, and that is not wrong, and it is their merit. But if wearing footwear into the monastery, and there is confidence that it is appropriate to wear footwear because it is far and difficult to walk, and that is not wrong too. But after they had both entered the monastery, and they would go pay respects to the Buddha statue and enter the hall, then they would both take off their footwear. So this is an example of differing views, but it is not arguing to the point of wanting to harm each other, and to the point where it would break their harmony. Like some people like sour taste, and some don't like sour. So when two of these people ate together, and one of them squeezed the lemon into their shared food, then they argued over it. They had been friends for 20 years, and had listened to Venerable Ajahn Chah's teachings for a long time about putting down views and ego. But they had lost themselves for a moment, and the views and ego grabbed the heart, and they argued and disputed, and they cut each other off and stopped being friends anymore. This is to show that it's not just in the monastery, but it happens a lot in the present-day society, to the point where there's troubles arising. There is harming each other, and with violence and killing, all because of differing views, and then harming others over it. the Buddha taught not to harm by way of body, speech, and by way of the mind. So a group that gathers together of 2 people and up must have rules and laws of society that must be laid down so they can live together. For the Sangha of monks, it is a Sangha of 4 monks and above who are able to conduct Sangha transactions. But in society, we talk about democracy, which is about the voice of the majority. But though it may be the voice of the majority, if it is not in terms of Dhamma, then it can bring up trouble. Venerable Ajahn Chah gave an example of one person who wasn't crazy, but the majority of people in that village had laid it down that that person was crazy. And so someone who wasn't crazy was labeled as crazy because that the voice of the majority saw it that way. So democracy needs to have Dhamma. It is not that there is no Dhamma and there is selfishness and a big group with wrong views. What is wrong, they call right. Then this is not Dhamma. Democracy can't be used then. So harmony is about concord, unity, minds gathering together and striving for the same goal. This is called Kaya Samagi, harmony in body. Many people gather to work together. Like for the Katina offering ceremony in every monastery, every person does it with harmony. There is traffic duty, the duty in regards to the food, volunteering duty, all the way to the duty of washing plates, and the cleaning of dirty things is a duty. When there are duties like this, then is everyone in harmony? They can be in harmony and unison. I want to bring up the example of the royal cremation ceremony of Venerable Ajahn Chah. The Sangha would separate out the work between them. From 3 a.m. onwards, there was the group in charge of cleaning, sweeping the surrounds of the monastery, and cleaning away the rubbish, where there would be a garbage vehicle that would take the rubbish. And in looking after the cleanliness of the whole monastery, what was important was about the foul things. Foul things are the waste that the body excretes out. If there is no group responsible to clean this, then the ceremony would not be orderly. If the foul things don't come out, then there will be big problems. Because there is the group responsible for the kitchen on food duty, and there were many people coming, around 5,000 monks coming, and many tens of thousands of people coming. So we can think of what this would be like. The monks also had those that were responsible to receive the visitors in the chaitya, and a group responsible to give teachings. So there were many different groups. But the Sangha would have harmony and gather as one, not disputing that I don't want this duty because it's dirty. I don't want to sweep and clean. I want to be in the duty at the chaitya. It is nice and beautiful there, and I can receive all the lay people and visiting monks. I want to get this position because it's good and prominent. But the Sangha would put the most appropriate monk to do that. And if they saw one had skill in cleaning the foul things, then they put them in that position. And the one who was to do it wouldn't find it detestable. He held it as the Sangha had him to do it. And he would do that duty to the best of his knowledge and skill. He would do his best at that duty. And what was important is that it would be done as an offering to Venerable Ajahn Chah. What one was told to do, he would do it. He would not detest that duty. He didn't have to be in a good and prominent position, and he wouldn't argue and dispute over it. And so there was harmony arising. The harmony and faith in Ajahn Chah was to the point where it was praised by the officials on how the monks had organized the ceremony. There was no royal or official help in doing the ceremony. There was only just some administrative help. But the monastery was able to set the rules on how to do it and planned it out so well. So the officials asked for the plan and how they had organized the funeral cremation ceremony of Ajahn Chah. And the lay people had very good harmony as well. King Rama IX came for the ceremony, and the lay people sat on the ground very orderly. They were not shouting out or rowdy, and sat and held their hands in Anjali on both sides of the road, all the way from where the king had landed in Ubon Airport to Wat Marp. They sat in a proper way like that. And King Rama IX and the Queen saw them sit orderly and not noisily, with their hands together in Anjali, and it was an image that they were very impressed with. And the king stayed for a long time. Usually the official ceremony is not that long, and the king would go straight back. But here the king stayed for a long time, on the day of the royal cremation of our Venerable Ajahn Chah at Wat Marp. So this was from the harmony of the body and of the heart that had the united respect in Venerable Ajahn Chah. We have goals, we have respect and homage, we have parents like others, we have a society we live in, we have people whom we respect and hold up high, we have the same king, we have the same religion, and we don't harm or put down other people's religion. So when we have bonds tying us to others, then we can be together with harmony and concord. And here humans will have happiness and peace. So we have to practice according to the fundamentals of the 4 Brahmaviharas by having the qualities of metta, loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, equanimity, and then we can live together. So may you be determined to have these qualities. What blessings does this harmony give? There arises ease and support for each other, which is lasting, and it builds happiness for ourselves and for others indirectly. It makes us understand each other and to be able to be together. It makes our minds remember harmony and concord, having metta for each other through our actions of body, speech and mind, in front of them or away from them. We share the things that we gain through correct livelihood, and there are no arguments, and we have views in alignment. But if harmony is broken, then there is a loss of wealth, loss of time, loss of good feelings, loss of friendship, and a loss of opportunity. So the Buddha talked a lot about this harmony as a foundation of the Dhamma Vinaya, the teachings and discipline. If people practice in this way, then in the present day there will be no wars breaking out, no killing and violence. There will be no division and rivalry. So we should try to see ourselves as being fellow humans. The country of Thailand, which arose in the past, had 10 million people, and way before that there was maybe 5 million people, and before that 1 million, 100,000, 10,000, 1,000 people. The land was vast and there were very few people. And for the other countries in the world it was the same. When there are few people like this, then where are people born from? They will be born from just a few people, and then a few people expanded by traveling and emigrating to different places, and then it naturally formed into different countries. But in reality, they are siblings. If it's thought of like this, then there won't be harming of one another, and we can live together with happiness. But whatever the case, common, unawakened people will have some arguments, but not to the point where it gets so serious that they use violence and killing. But people these days have to be very careful. One may say something wrong a little bit, and it leads to harm and killing. There is something not to their liking just a little bit, and it leads to physical violence. We have to be very careful here. The Buddha said we need to have forgiveness, giving our Bhavarana an invitation to each other, saying, "For what I have done wrong in body, speech or thoughts, in front or away from another one of the Sangha members, may we give forgiveness to each other, and I will be more restrained in the future." Lay people are the same. Being together with others, like this today or the next observance day, we give our invitation in our heart that I come to the monastery and come to practice, and having had bad feelings to this or that person, may we give forgiveness to each other. Let us not hold on to it, and let it be wrongdoing and karma made towards each other. Because the day of the Maha Bhavarana of the monks is a day where we will give forgiveness to each other. May we set up our hearts to give forgiveness like this. And giving forgiveness is a great merit and goodness. We have given many material offerings already, but giving forgiveness will pull out all sorts of pain in the heart. May you grow in Dhamma, may you grow in blessings.